You know, some people out there, when they talk, they fake the funk. You want brutally honest? Well, if you are brutally honest, look no further than CG Ruthless Sports.
CG Ruthless.
CG Ruthless Sports.
CG Ruthless.
If you want your sports talks to be brutally honest, come check out CG.
CG Ruthless.
If you're not watching CG Ruthless, I don't know what to tell you. Representing the Niner Empire.
CG Ruthless.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the 559, OG49er559, man, the DB disciple, man. What's good, bro?
Hey, nothing much, man. Happy Sunday. Thank you for bringing me on your show, man. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Tell me where the audience can find you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter at OG49er559. I'm always talking trash, always critiquing the defensive backs because that's my passion. I play the position, and so do my boys. But yeah, look for me on OG49er559 on Twitter.
Okay, so tell me more about yourself. What made you into football as a kid? Like you said, you became a fan since 1984, right?
Yes. At first, my dad reminded me. I don't even remember this. I was a Raider fan when I was a kid at first, but I turned into a 49er fan because my Uncle Joe would call me the Mexican Jerry Rice because how fast and athletic I was and how I can catch a ball. So that's where everything started. He showed me some games. There was the Joe Montana, the Jerry Rice, the Freddie Solomon, the Keena Turner's running lots. And ever since then, I've been a 49er fan ever since 1984, yeah.
Okay, so that was what kept you as a fan. So, like, I guess some people would just find a team by accident and then they realize that's just not my team. That's how some people would. I mean, I can get that feeling too. I see a lot of people think that way too. But so what was one of your most favorite player when you became a 49ers fan? That was the guy you liked it and became a fan ever since.
Running lot for sure. Well, no, I'm lying about that. It was Jeff Fuller. At first, because I love the way he covered. I love the way he came at receiver as a heat-seeking missile hitting. But for some reason, Ronnie Lott caught my attention because I believe he did more than Jeff Fuller did. He not only he can cover, but he can deliver hits and give you hello shots. And the speed he has, and just his IQ was unbelievable.
So Jeff Fuller, yeah, he was like the one guy that nobody talks much about. It's like the guy was a good tandem with Ronnie Lott also. But okay, let me put it in a better explanation of what made you switch up to DB at first. I mean, you were playing football from high school to college, right? But what made you said you were playing a different position, right?
Right. It started my freshman year. We had a very, very small team. So basically, we played the Iron Man, which was playing both ways. I started off as a receiver, and then when it came defense, I became defensive back. So all through my freshman year, I was playing both positions. And then after the season was over, about leading up to spring, around springtime, the varsity coach calls me and tells me that I'm going to be playing on the varsity team as a sophomore. And, I'm excited about it. So leading up to spring training, they told me that I was going to play defensive back. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't like it. I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to do this and do that, because I had this better than everybody, CG. We have a big ego back then. So to make the long story short, I didn't really care much about technique, what to do, what not to do, stuff like that, because I relied on my speed. So leading up to the first game, and I could tell you who it was against. It was against Clovis West High School. To make it short and sweet, boy, did it backfire on me, because in the first quarter, I got torched for 3 touchdowns, and I got benched in the first quarter, and we were down 21-0. We ended up losing that game pretty badly. ever since then, I took technique very serious. So that's where the source starts at. Is I took it very serious, and I've been on it ever since.
Okay, so
So all through high school, I played nothing but defensive back. I played a little safety, but I was more. The coaches had me more on defensive back because it was more athletic. I could keep up with the receivers who were fast. So I was basically the DB all through high school. Then I played 2 years in junior college, Fresno City, and once I had that neck injury, that was a wrap after that.
okay, so once you started finding the purpose of the position, it just became something that you got used to. Just how I felt when I had to go switch from offensive lineman. It wasn't something that I liked overnight. I was just a guy that liked defense, and that was the same exact feeling I felt. But as soon as I started catching on the techniques and started learning how to block better, it
Right.
started becoming such a simple task that I always kept watching films of O-line and telling them this is what they're doing wrong and all this stuff and all the techniques. I've been able to watch. I've been able to play defense as an outside looking in. I've been able to see what their techniques were and how I can be able to avoid getting beat in some ways. But yeah, like it's very similar to when you play receiver and you're cornerback. You can tell what routes they're running or
Right.
stuff like that. But
And one thing my coach always told us, my coach Mel Gray, is watch what they do. There's going to be times the receiver is going to tip off the route. There's going to be times that the receiver is going to be quick. You always got to be ready. He used Murphy Law, which I really didn't know what that was at the time, but now that I know and I coach my sons, my coach always said, expect the unexpected. So that was always the mentality that I had.
yeah, see, it's kind of exactly the same way how it kind of got me to change the way how I looked at it too. Like, because we were both playing opposite positions, and the one technique that I learned about playing O-line at the best level was if you want to block better or not get caught holding, you have to go somewhere under or something, and then you
Right.
got to be able to. And they won't call it because they won't notice it. So it's like I've been able to use that technique, but then there's been times where I got some defenders pretty pissed off because I was getting
Right.
too aggressive. Yeah.
And then that's one thing our coach told us as well too is when you play one-on-one, especially one-on-one, always use inside technique. But there's more to inside technique than what I expected. This is how you got to line up a certain way. This is what you got to do when the play's developing, what to do, what not to do. Always keep your shoulder lined up with the receiver's right, same shoulder as well. For example, I'm facing you. My right shoulder will be to your right. So I'm making sure I get leverage on you.
Okay, so that was leverage, but okay, so that's how you would tell by the side of the receivers when DBs had to be able to go on this other side to read the plays. But so when I look at DBs, what's the difference between playing safety and cornerback? What's the very big difference of it? Like, I mean, you're a guy with DB knowledge.
Um, my input on that is when you play DB, there's a lot of responsibility. It's one of the hardest positions to play. Uh, as far as safety goes, there's a lot more responsibility. You got to check the coverage, see what the teams are doing, because you're not only guarding the tight end, but you're watching what the quarterback do, reading his eyes, making sure you don't get fooled by the quarterback's eyes at the same time. You're going up against, for example, if you're going against a tight end, he's going to be a lot bigger than you, so you got to make a for sure tackle, either for sure tackle or you hit him, make sure he feels it. As far as defensive back goes, it's more athletic involved. Basically keeping up with the receivers fast. Anybody can have speed on either position. Anybody can have speed, but if you don't have that proper technique, your speed's not going to matter on both safety and defensive back.
Okay, so it just has to do with technique. So, like example, like Josh Norman, he's not the fastest guy by any means, but he's got some good techniques, right?
Right. I'll give you a perfect example. When I watched Josh Norman over the years, one thing that he was good at, yeah, he was good at coverage, but the one thing he was good at, even Odell Beckham got frustrated with this, is Josh Norman knew how to neutralize the speed. What I mean by that is, because I know what that means, so I'm gonna go based off my experience. When Josh Norman guarded Odell Beckham, one of the things he did is keep not only keep up with them, but he managed to neutralize them by staying in front of him. Not too close, but not too far, but just enough to neutralize that. Like for example, if he goes on a deep route, you're going to have to go around him to try to outrun him. If you could press him to the sideline, you basically neutralize them.
Okay, so that's just base techniques. Just like, for example, Sherman's not even the fastest either, but he's got the best technique when it comes to it. Like, he just uses his brain a lot better than speed wise. But
Right.
so checking out the updates of the guys who are going to expect to play. I'm hearing that Lenore's going to cover Odell Beckham now. I thought at first it could have been Norman, like a possibility, but it looks like Lenore's going to get some more snaps.
You know, to be honest with you, I was really looking forward to that matchup, but after that stunt Josh Norman pulled, you and I both know, CG, if you fight with your own teammate, you're getting basically benched for the whole year. I think that injury broke the ribs injury. I think that's a smoke screen. But Lenore going against Odell Beckham, that's going to be a challenge. That will be a challenge for Lenore because Lenore does have a habit of getting caught flat-footed. That was one of the big critiques I had about him, is he tends to get flat-footed and get beat. I'll refer you to what Brandon Ayuk did to him and against Oregon. You'll see what I'm talking about when he gets caught flat-footed.
Well, yeah, Lenore doesn't know how to work on the hips part. Like you were talking about the hip where he could just point in and all that. Oh yeah, what's up with it, Chardol? And I guess your boy Armando is not a. I guess he's a
Yeah,
supporter of yours.
yeah, that's my best friend. My best friend for almost 30 years. A cool guy. He's a Raider fan, but he jumped on just to show his support. He's also from Fresno too.
I mean, it's good to have one of those kind of friends, man. Like I've actually had some friends for like a while, but they always turn their back on me. So it's like I don't know.
Oh
Some of
no,
them just
he's been through with me through thick and thin, so he knows what I'm talking about.
okay. So that's good, dude. So when we look at the thoughts of Lenore, man, give me some details of what can really improve Lenore and like as our guy going forward. Like he's gonna get some reps on Monday night.
I think the biggest thing is, well, of course, I mentioned flat foot, but the biggest
Yeah.
thing that I'm not even crazy about, he needs to be on the hip, lock onto the hip, and not in a trail position. Because when you're in a trail position, you're open for that deep pass, and you're open for pass interference because the receiver's going to let you run into him. So that was the big thing I had a problem with Lenore on. And don't get me wrong, I think Lenore has a big potential, but he needs to work on those techniques that I'm talking about.
Okay, so yeah, I mean the guy's got really good technique, but I think as soon as he gets proper coaching, like okay, in this situation, what would you give the best advice for Lenore? And for some reason, if his sister is able to watch it, she'll probably even give him the pointers. Yeah, you know she comes
I'm
around.
waiting for I'm waiting for it to pop up right now.
I just supporting my brother. Like, oh, that's cool. Everybody likes supporting Moses, man. Moses is the coolest guy, man. Like, if he was on my coaching staff, this guy would be my DB guru right there.
One of the things I would tell Lenore is when I will, of course, I'm going to coach him up. But in this particular game, if it's true what you say, and I'm hearing the same thing, if you go against Odell Beckham, stay on the hip, stay in that window area with the shoulder. Please don't get in a trail position and stick to the basics. Stick to the basics. And my sons are pretty familiar with that. Stick to the basics. I've always told them that. Don't do nothing fancy. If you want to make it look like a jam, don't jam because you're gonna miss it. Don't jam unless you know for sure you're gonna get your hands on the receiver to reroute them. But if you don't think so, don't do it.
Definitely, like I think that's the best advice he can take from somebody with knowledge and experience. I mean, but like it's like you said that DB comes a long way with your family now. Like you said, your sons play DB, but what colleges they play at, and what have they learned from you from taking those knowledge from you?
They learn I'm a hard ass, that's for sure. Well, one
Uh,
of the things that one of the things I told my sons, like I conditioned them. I'll give you an example. They always remember when I coached them in the summer. It was, don't get me wrong, that year it was 110 degrees that year, and I had them running on the track, and they want to know why am I putting them to that? Because when it comes down to the fourth quarter, it's not so much your physical, but it's gonna be your mentality. Can you go into deep waters and hang? So one of the things that I taught my sons basically the same thing that I was taught to: what to do, what not to do. Don't be fancy. Stick to the basics. Do cheat move to do, what cheat moves not to do. So that's one of the things that I coached them on.
Yeah, that's a good way to discipline them because then that gets them to be in the fourth quarter games and it doesn't get them tired because usually it comes down to the last quarter of the game or if it goes to overtime, you got to have that extra cardio and that extra and you got to play with hard out there. And that's what kind of stands out. Like there isn't many DB coaches around here in this that can coach in that same level. Like we're looking at this Niners coach that we got. I think he's just terrible, man. What do you think of that Niners DB coach that we got, man? I don't know about him. Like, I think you are more qualified to coach DBs than he is right now.
Where do I apply at?
Go apply, go to Jed York or go to Santa Clara, but I don't know this DB coach that came from Detroit, bro. He's not that good.
One word, and if you're watching, I hope he sees it. But one word for him is garbage. One of the big things I have a big problem with. Okay, you're going man to man. Why in the hell are you lining up on the outside shoulder instead of the inside shoulder? When you're man to man, it's always inside technique. Anybody who played DB knows it's always inside technique. So why are you lining up on the outside shoulder? I have no idea. You're getting beat like that.
Yeah, like the way he's coaching his DBs, bro, that we barely have freaking like one interception, and that's from Josh Norman. And this guy can't coach. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure Moses could do it for a pretty elite minimum, man. I don't know about the other DB.
Definitely. If I have to start off as what is a counsel, or what do you call them? Consultant. There you go. If I have to start off right there, I will. But I will sign up, like my friend Mondo said. I should sign up because the one we have is garbage.
Yeah, so we can be critical about that part and agree on that part. So let's say, for example, if you had a little extra free time, would you even have the free time to coach DBs and be able to take knowledge, or you just don't really think of it like that? Like, I know some people have passion and still want to do it for some purpose, but would you still want to be coaching?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been told by numerous people I should be coaching because of the knowledge. Even my wife tells me, why haven't I coached? Have so much knowledge, especially with the defensive back positions, because I played it and my sons played it. So why aren't you coaching? So I've looked into it, but the problem I have that everybody has, I'm too fiery. I have the passion. I'm too fiery. I'm hard. I'm a hard ass, basically.
Yeah, there's just ain't many coaches like that, because in today's coaching, man, it's all soft coaching. They don't push them as hard. Like, I remember when I first played, a lot of my coaches were really harsh on me, and they won't only say it because they wanted to bring the best out of me. Like, in today's coaching, these generation would complain about something, and I'm like, dude, that's what you call coaching.
Exactly.
The coaches are not here to be your friends. The coaches are here to be douchebags. They're here to motivate you. Like, for example, when my coach told me that I did something wrong and he's calling me this, but he's saying it just to motivate me and bring the best out of me. Like that one time I screwed up one play, my coach came to me and told me, this is what you're doing wrong, and do it again. If not, you're going to run off those, what is it, like they make you do those little bear crawls off the 100-yard field.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what taught me. That's what taught me the lesson. And then if I screwed up or said something stupid to the coach, up downs here and there, or just run around the gashers. It's like, dude, that's what you call tough coaching right there.
Remember I told you about that game I got torched on? Remember that game I told you I got torched, that one game when I got benched and I got torched for 3 touchdowns?
Oh, explain to me on that play what happened. That because you said you got beat on that play, but did the coach pull you like this? Like, get over here.
I was about to go in. All I heard was, Moses, get on the bench. And I looked like, huh? Get on the bench. You're not going. You're staying out. You're not playing for the rest of the game. You talk about being embarrassed. I mean, I brought it on myself because I didn't take the position very serious.
Yeah, because you said you didn't care about techniques and you were just getting to a new position, but you got to realize technique does make a difference when it comes down to it. So it's like, that's what it was when I first started off a new position. Like, I had to think, man, I played D-line. I know how to capitalize it, but then a couple of O-lines were showing me better footworks and better technique how to block. They say they won't call you on a flag on this play as long as you hit it somewhere under. It's kind of like I don't know, it's a weird technique, but they've always told me that's what's been working for them. So I've been able to take advantage of it. And then if I wanted to, I could actually just pull them down without even doing nothing, and they won't even call it.
And the first touchdown, I mean, I got beat off the line of scrimmage badly. I mean, my plan was I'm gonna jam this dude. I'm gonna make him take him to the sidelines, and I'm gonna have him sit on our own side of the field bench. I'm gonna have him sit on the bench. Didn't happen. I missed the jam, and you talk about trail position. I got beat badly off the line of scrimmage. So after that game, that Monday, the coach comes up to me and tells me, Moses, do you want your position back? I go, yeah. Okay, well, see that truck right there? Yeah. You're gonna have the whole offensive line right on the bed of the truck. Your job is to push the truck from one end zone to the other and back, or till I tell you to stop. So I did about one, two, three, 5 times back and forth before I got tired, before I could earn my position back. That was one of the disciplines I got.
Yeah, like I remember a few times when I screwed up some plays, my coaches even told me that, man, dude, we might just have you just go bear crawl and get, you know how they had those weight sled or something, but you would have
Yeah.
to move. But it's kind of like you were moving like a dog, but they wanted me to toughen up and be more physical, and that's how they got me tougher. Like I remember a time where I screwed up a couple of plays and I had some bad botch snaps to the center, but then I thought at first I was out of jeopardy on my starting job, but then they came up on me and told me that we're gonna have to push you a little more tougher and all this. And then they said, you're not in jeopardy because there's nobody good at that position than you. I think you're a far better blocker than those guys. And they told me, you know what, we're gonna put you on a sled, and if you can get it done within that time, we're giving you some more endurance, more strength, and more power. But I guess they had to put some sled, but I had to crawl, dude. I hated the bear crawl, especially
I
a 100-yard
hated it.
field.
Yeah.
100-yard field. Dude,
CJ,
like I never, I know. Yeah.
try pushing the whole truck with the lineman in the bed of the truck. Try pushing that from one end zone to the other, going back and forth until the coach tells you to stop.
Oh, man, dude.
You talking about my legs feeling like spaghetti, man.
Dude, I felt like I was always paralyzed. Like, God, I kept crawling until the coach, is that it? And he says, nope, do it again. I'm like, oh my God.
And one thing that, like I told my sons, one thing I'm hard on them about is because they have more potential than me. This is why I'm hard. This is why I'm putting you through some grueling exercises. Because when it comes down and you're in a tight game, your hands are sweating, you're being nervous, you'll be mentally ready for a tight game. That's one of the things that I was told, but I relay that also to my sons as well.
Yeah, I was always taught that by my brother, and God rest his soul. But he always was pushing me, and it wasn't being like he wasn't doing it out of purpose. He was just doing it because he knew I had something. So he kept saying, "Dude, don't take it offensive, but I'm just doing it to toughen you up." And I said, "All right."
And yeah, that's what my sons told me. Like my oldest son, when that year they won that championship, the freshman championship. That's one of the things they told me was, Dad, thank you for putting me through this, because now I know what you're talking about. I go, this is why I'm hard on you. Now you're gonna be playing varsity next year. I'm gonna be more hard on you now. I'm not gonna be your dad. I'm gonna be your worst nightmare because you're gonna be a lot better than I was.
That's the point of what some people would say. I want you to be better than me. That's why I'm pushing you. That's what they always have been doing in some ways. But in today's coaching, it's been a little soft on that stuff. You can't even.
And that's what irks me, CJ. You and I know we come from the old school. We're used to getting coached hard. Nowadays, it's like, man, are we football players or are we divas? Which one is it?
That's the one I don't get. Like, how are you supposed to get better if you don't have tough coaching? Sometimes the tougher coaching can make the best out of you, and it makes you not want to go through that situation again. But now that you have players like other guys that keep thinking they're just in charge of the team when they're not, it's the head coach who gives you chances. But the problem is, if you can't take his coaching right, you can't complain about it. And then the fact that like back then, maybe they started restricting the rules where it was very understandable if coaches not hitting players. That's understandable. That's right. One thing I can agree on that part. But the way they talk in their words, come on, man, that's coaching.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my coach basically. I'm sorry for doing this, CG, but my coach told me this. Are you a man? Are you gonna play defensive back? Are you gonna hit somebody, or are you gonna be this?
I get what you're saying, man. Are you gonna be this or that? Yeah, and then that's what I see out of this, dude. Like, see, in this generation, man, I'm sorry for you guys, man. You guys are having patty cake coaches over here. They want to give you some rewards for a little accomplishment. To me, most of my coaches would tell me, "Oh, you had one great game. You want me to give you a damn cookie? That ain't good enough. Do better."
Right. Exactly. That's what my sons usually like get mad at me. Dad, I played good. Okay, one game, but can you keep it on a consistent basis? Because you're not gonna only get this certain receiver. You're gonna be going up against, more faster receivers, more that use their dance moves and stuff like that. But you're gonna go up against a lot more faster receivers, so you got to keep it consistent.
Yeah, when you play consistent, sometimes one game doesn't mean nothing. That's just one thing I've learned my lesson about. Like that one time I had one of my best performances as a defender. I was just acting like I was the top of the mountain for that one moment, and then the next game I didn't play. I didn't play up to my potential. I was like bench off the sideline after a stupid penalty, and then my coach told me, "Man, you knew you needed to do better, and that's why I told you to do better. This is why you should have not got ahead of yourself from the last game. Because the last game I was playing one of my best games, and then after that, I guess I lost it, and I guess I wasn't a factor. But then I got myself a crucial penalty, and I was ejected for that stupid play. But it
And
kind of
one thing that I was very particular about, because the receivers nowadays, they're more taller, more stronger, more faster. One of the main things I told my sons, if you're gonna play man to man, modify the jam. So I'm glad you asked that, CJ. What is modified jam? So
means
I'm
get to
lined
the right.
I'm lined up against you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna pretend you're gonna jam. So my hands are right here, okay? So when the play starts, you're gonna, instead of actually jamming them, you're doing this. Get the
Yeah.
receiver thinking. Because if you get the receiver thinking, you got them. Then
Mm-hmm.
you can. That's part of what I mean by neutralizing the speed.
Yeah, because you got to read their body language or where they're going too, and then you got to follow them and have better hit placement too. Like if that's the one thing Lenore can work on, I think he's got the talent to succeed there.
Oh, absolutely. And I really believe, I'm hoping. I mean, we're not hoping. I want to say at least give him a shot. Let's see how much he learned. Is Avery Thomas. Every
Yeah,
keep talking about his speed and everything, but one of the things that no one talked about, his technique was basically horrible. So I'm hoping that if he plays, I bet you anything, either Odell or Cooper Cup's going to be on him. They're going to try to attack Avery Thomas on his side. So I'm hoping he improves on his technique and stop grabbing. That's a big thing. Is why grab? Don't grab.
yeah. Like I think Lenore's supposed to be going against Odell for this one, from what I'm hearing. But Ivory Thomas will probably get some snaps, but it depends on Josh Norman. I think he's supposed to be expected to play, so he's questionable. But it doesn't, like, I look at the matchup, I'm thinking Mosley would probably either match with Cooper Cup because of the way he keeps up with players. And then you got Williams, Quan Williams matching up with Jefferson. Jefferson, I believe, right?
Right.
And that would be the only matchup. But Jefferson's like 6'1", but I still think that Williams can match up even with the size advantage. Doesn't matter. He makes up for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the one interesting matchup I want to see, and I think he's done it before. Correct me, CG, but hasn't Quan Williams shut down Cooper Cup before?
I think during his rookie year, if I think so, or
So
was it like during his rookie or his second year or something?
it
I think
was
that's when.
he was something like that. But the only question I have is, can Quan Williams' calf hold up if he goes up against Cooper Cup?
Oh yeah, Cooper Cup can separate, and it's hard to keep up with him, even though he runs a 4.62. But he makes up for it. He plays faster than what his speed says, so it's like he
And one
can
thing I
go.
never understood is, for example, Josh Norman, he knows better not to go for the fake, because you know how the receivers like to dance around, do their juke moves. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the things I taught my sons too: stay disciplined. And I'll get to that part in a bit. Stay disciplined. Let the receiver do a little juke move. Let him do a little kumbaya dancing. Let him do the nay nay. Let him do whatever, because eventually he has to come your way. So that's one thing I taught my sons. So getting back to Josh Norman and DBs, the undiscipline that's going on, I have no idea what is wrong with them. They should know better than this. And I always said, even I think I said this on your show, CD, is the Richard Sherman leadership is missing. I believe that. What do you think?
Yeah, because he was well respected, and he's been a guy that had a voice, and he would let you know what he feels. But you don't have that, so it's like, no offense to Josh Norman, but you only been here for like at least a few months. So I don't know about your leadership. Like you probably had some leadership, but it's been like years ago. But you're like below the depth chart in between the category. But I feel like Fred Warner needs to step it up because
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't think Fred Warner has been doing that. I mean, even Fred Warner's been getting torched as well by the tight ends. And for him to run to a tight end or a running back, it's like, this is not the Fred Warner I know. Especially during this year, this is not the Fred Warner I know. I don't know if the money got to his head or he's hesitant, he's thinking too much, something's going on.
Got to do with the money because ever since you pay these players money, they don't even play up to their performance. Like if you look at what's happened ever since we paid these players some top dollars, have you seen the similar production?
No. In the one big disappointment, George Kittle. He's a
Yeah,
big
but he
disappointment.
never is able to stay healthy, but he still produces, but just not available. It's the difference.
Yeah, and not so much he produces, but I don't think he goes all out on a route. I don't know. Either the teams have figured him out how to stop him or how to slow him down, or he just not even putting full effort. I don't know what's going on with that.
I think some defenders are trying to figure him out a little bit, but I still think he's still effective, even with that kind of effort he puts in. I
And the
mean,
one
Fred Warner Fred Warner earns a contract, but I don't know if he's playing up to that expectation. But then you got Nick Bosa. My question is, if after we paid Nick Bosa in the next year or two, I wonder if his production is going to fall off. You know,
I don't think so. I mean, if that was the case, Joey Bosa would have started that. And Joey Bosa, even though he got paid, he always put maximum effort all the time. Based off of what I see, he never dogs it. He always goes all out. And I think Nick Bosa would be the same.
I think the technique and the way he's trained by his family, like you just said, you're a DB and you train your own kids. That's just how Bosa is trained by his own dad and his own brother, and that's what makes it really. I think that's the only difference with him is like he. I don't. I think his technique and his training won't change. The ones that concern me is like the moment you pay these other players money, are they really motivated or they just think, oh, I don't got nothing to prove after this?
The only thing I can think of, CJ, is that once they get paid, they're like, okay, maybe I can relax this year, a year or two. I can just relax, try to don't go all out, try not to get hurt or something like that. I think that's what happens as well.
Yeah, some of them think too much of their health wise, or they just don't even think about the game no more. Like it's like, let's say, for example, you're getting paid a lot of money, right? Does it change you in some way of how you feel about your job performance, or you feel like, hey, I still got to prove it either way, or do you feel like, hey, I don't got to do this?
I still got to prove myself. Even when I made to the up to the varsity, I still had something to prove, and that was to myself. Can I do it? Can I keep up? Am I really up to this level? Up to this level? Am I ready for the competition? All that goes through your head. If I was getting paid, I probably won't even think about the money. To be honest with you, I just want to make sure that the receiver don't make me look dumb.
Oh no, but I'm like talking like as like if you're coaching, for example. Well, let's say example you're like a head coach of a good program, and they gave you a big contract. Will that change the way you are like as a coach? Or like you said, you might want to prove yourself, but some of them just change. Like I think money just changes people. Like Kyle Shanahan, he put all that time and work in his early years. You know, the early time he came here, he wanted to put the team and build around. But ever since he's got that extension, I'm questioning him a little bit. What do you think of it? Like lately of his coaching?
I think it's changed. I think it's changed him a lot. I think he's not coaching up to par. I think I don't know. There's something about his coaching this year that doesn't seem right. I don't know if he's coaching scared or when he gets to certain situations that he doesn't know what to do or what's going on, but I feel like he's not coaching the way he needs to do. He needs to do it.
And the way he's play this offense, man. Like
I
I
mean, what
think
happened to the end arounds? What happened to the reverses? What happened to the naked bootlegs? What happened to all that? You're not doing that.
yeah, and the question is why is the offense not producing like it used to be? I figured defense is starting to stack the box and starting to stop the running game, and it's forcing Jimmy Garoppolo to throw the ball, which Jimmy doesn't always win those type of games. Like the only time Jimmy Garoppolo's ever won a game was against the Saints, but the rest of it, he's never won in those kind of shootouts.
And I'm surprised Kyle Shanahan doesn't replicate what he did, for example, against the Bears. I really believe Jimmy Garoppolo got the Bears defense respect, and they started playing them more loosely, and that's where it pretty much opened up what Jimmy Garoppolo wanted to do,
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
Kyle Shanahan.
I think Kyle Shanahan needs to figure out ways to involve these players and all that stuff. So it kind of. Wait, hold on. All right, so My bad. I hate when these dumb government calls call in out of nowhere. I hate
I get
that.
those too, though. I get those too. I'm like, the hell you calling me for?
Yeah, dude. Like, even if I private my phone and all that, they still bother. Like, it's ridiculous. Looking forward to. I mean, okay. Like, since we're debating about it, like, I don't answer phone calls. Not if it's a random government call. I don't answer those. They're
I got
always
nothing to
talking
say to
about
them.
like, yeah, like you want a trip to the Bahamas or all this other stuff. Like, come on, man. I ain't falling for your scam.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'll get a call from a phone. You have a warrant for your arrest or something like that. Okay, well I'll be at my front door. If you're really serious, I'll be at my front door waiting to get cuffed up.
Yeah. So okay, since we're talking coaches, I think it depends on the person. Like some of them are just not here for the passion. Some of them are actually kind of here for money too. So I can understand the purpose of it.
You
I
know,
don't.
to be honest with you, CG, I think that's what's also missing too with the passion. Where the passion and love that you had growing up being a football player up into the NFL, where's that same passion at? Where's that fire at? Did the money really just diffuse that, or what happened?
Money tends to beat them. Like it's like you get the best players in the world, but then as soon as they get the big contract, it's like man, like they feel like oh, I don't got to prove nothing no more. I'll
Yeah,
just play like I'll play half performance. Like for example, I know for some job evaluation when you're working at a job and you're getting paid pretty good money, are you really concerned about job security when you're guaranteed this kind of money? Some of them just say, "Oh, I don't think so." I've always thought you got to always better yourself.
right.
And it's never like don't ever take it for granted because I've seen people taking jobs for granted and somebody else is willing to take that job and they're probably willing to prove it. And you
And
never want to, yeah.
and you know, CG, everybody's replaceable. Even when we
Mhm.
played, we were always replaceable.
Yeah. Like, for example, like if I'm not playing up to the level like I was as a guard or center, they're always going to find somebody better than me and more tougher and more quicker than me. So I've always got to step it up.
And I'm glad my coach saw something to me because he could have easily benched me for the whole season after what happened that in that particular game. But he gave me a chance to prove myself, and if I messed up, hey, it was on me.
Yeah. It's definitely what most coaches would tell us. Like, if I screwed up and they needed me to like listen to them, of course I'll take their pointers and see what I did wrong. And then I always figure out ways to fix it. So it's always been the way of most coaches are. But when you get these kind of coaches and this coaches that we've been accustomed to, man, they're not around, man, because they're too afraid of consequences of the way they're coaching. Like, as long as they're not going to hit you physically or nothing like that, then that's the one that I can understand. Like, that's something that you shouldn't be going out of line. But if they can talk and discipline you in a what is it, verbally way or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
then they're not doing nothing. It's just words. People take words too serious. Like,
And
man,
I don't know, CG. I really believe it was a mistake giving Kyle Shanahan an extension. For some reason, he got that extension, and it changed him after that. Like he ain't coaching the way he's used to coaching. Like for example, what happened in 2019, he's not coaching the same way.
it's mostly got to do with all the players. Like some of the guys and the coaching staffs are leaving. Yeah.
And then plus two, like I said, what happened to the end around? What happened to the jet sweeps? What happened to the reverses? What happened to all that? You were doing all that in 2019, and now you just basically bailed out from it. I think you could use that against aggressive defenses. For example, if the Niners can do that against the Rams, they can hold the Rams from the pass rush. They can neutralize it. Yeah, you get a pass rush, but it's not going to be effective like what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, we were able to do those jet sweeps on the Rams, and that's what neutralized Aaron Donald a little bit. He wasn't able to get to the quarterback as much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and
Yeah,
then you got Von Miller. I mean, you're gonna have to do something. You're gonna change it up somehow.
yeah, and especially Von Miller. And then you got Leonard Floyd. That's another guy they got also. And
Leonard Floyd, I'm not really high on. I'm not really high on that. I'm more worried about Donald and Von Miller, and that's even if Von Miller's still the same.
Von Miller's he's just going to bring a better veteran presence, and I think he may not be the same exact player, but he'll still be a factor.
Now, can we get to Stafford? That's gonna be my question.
The question is, no D Ford, but I'm trying to see if we can see a lot of see the one guy that I like is like if Arden Key could just work on his technique a lot better, the way he's been doing it, is he's got to do something exactly the way Bosa does it. But he gets to the bull rush part.
Yeah.
Sometimes that bull rush stuff works at a certain extent, but it doesn't always work effectively. It depends on which one you're facing, because if you go against a better tackle, you're done. But if you use other techniques to like beat him a little here and there, then you're going to have a chance. But then you look at somebody like Samson Ebika. He's very familiar with the Rams, but he should be able to like figure out better techniques how to beat the tackle.
And that's one thing too. That's one thing too, CG, is I'm expecting, and I'm sure you are, and I'm sure everybody in the mother is, the Rams going to hit the Niners with quick passes, bubble screens, receiver screens. They're going to hit them with that. So this is one thing I wanted to get at you, CG, about, is the Niners did this against the Colts, and it kind of neutralized what Wentz wanted to do with the receivers. Well, except with that Kirkpatrick. Don't even get me started with that. But one thing that they should get back to is playing modified off coverage. Now, I'm glad you asked that. What is that? It's sort of like man-to-man, but you're playing off coverage as well, which is, you know how Mosley, I don't know why he's always 10 yards away, but the way we were coached is you play 8 to 10 yards, right? That's off coverage. Cut it in half or modify it to 4 to 5 yards. Right then and there, you can attack the bubble screens much quicker. You can attack the receiver screens much quicker. You can get to the running back or the jet sweeps. You can get to it quicker. The only thing is you cannot fall for the double move. That's the only bad thing about it. You can't do that. You got to be on your toes. You cannot get caught flat-footed. And that's one of the things I worry about with these DBs. Josh Norman, for example, and he should know better. Don't get caught flat-footed, because once you get caught flat-footed, that receiver's gone. It's bye-bye after that.
Yeah, that's pretty much, for a guy, he's been around the league for 10 plus years. He should know better. And then I get that guys like Lenore's been playing DB for quite a while, but he's still getting some NFL experience. Then you got a lot of guys like Drake or Patrick, which he's going to be ruled out, but he should know better too. But a lot of these guys, they're getting paid to do their job right, but you got to do a lot of film study and be able to work on better techniques, and then be able to do a lot more in practice. And
you know who I wish the Niners would have kept was Devonte Harris and that number Myers, I think his name was. He played in preseason against the Raiders. I think it was Myers, right?
Yeah.
One thing that jumped off about both of them is their technique. One thing that Devonte Harris I rave about is he's always hip to hip, and he's always in position either to make a play on the ball or intercept the ball. Myers was just as physical, like a younger Sherman, but he can keep up with the receivers. That's what he did against the Raiders in the preseason. So I'm surprised the Niners didn't keep both of them, because I was really hoping they would.
Yeah, those are the kind of guys we would expect to see stick around, but they just let them go for no reason. But I guess they felt like their depth was more confident for them. So it's like, so when you look at the players, Mosley, he can be a little good at times, but then times he'll play god awful. But he's always been the guy that we have as our starter, and he's always been in and out. But then there's times he's always played his best, and there's times he's always played terrible. So I don't know which Mosley we're gonna get. And then you got Williams, which he's at the almost at the end of his career, and he's like barely 30 years old, but he still can do good as a nickel. But then you got Norman. I'm not even counting too much on Norman anymore. This guy gives us too many damn penalties. Like I'm good with Lenore. If Lenore can match up well, I give the kid a chance. Abry Thomas, man, what do we got to lose with this kid?
Right.
More experience is going to help him, and plus he'll be able to learn the techniques or be able to figure out what he did wrong, and then he'll be all right.
The one thing I have a problem with Mosley on is once he gets beat, he doesn't turn for the ball. That's my biggest issue with the DBs. Is they should know better against CG. They should locate the ball. I don't know if there's communication, but you know the CG. When the ball's in the air, you know, you hear it too, where they go ball, ball, ball. You know, basically the ball's in the air, look for it. And that's one of the things I taught my boys as well. As soon as you see the eyes go back or the head turn around, you locate the ball, or listen for your teammates. They're going to say ball, ball. That means it's going your way. So I don't know if there's no communication going on in the backfield or what. And that's another issue I'm having, CG, is I believe there's no communication within the whole defense. I mean, what do you think? What have you saw?
Well, they're not looking towards the ball, and then some of the plays that they've been making, that's why it's been a lot of PIs because they haven't looked towards the ball. As soon as you look towards the ball, they're not going to call it flag because they know you're looking at the ball, not at
Right.
them.
The one particular play was with Mosley. And what really upset me with Mosley is one, of course, I did say that he doesn't locate the ball. Other part is he's always in perfect position. For example, on a deep fade route. One thing we're taught is don't grab the receiver, just feel the receiver out. He's gonna take you to where the ball's gonna come. But to bear hug him, that's where it's like, what are you doing? You're in perfect position. You turned around. You didn't have to locate the ball, but just turn your head. That so you won't tip off the ref. But when you bear hug him, you're gonna get caught for a PI. What are you doing? That's why
Yeah,
I'm like, it irks me.
yeah. What is this? The family reunion hug or something?
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, I think as long as they face towards the ball, they shouldn't be able to like overthink on the play. But if they are in good position, they should be able to look towards that ball. If you can't get the interception, just deflect it.
And
That
one
was
thing that D'Amico Ryan said, one of the reporters asked him, what's going on with the DBs? How come they're not turning for the ball? He said, well, the DBs panic. That's why they don't look for the ball. Well, they didn't have to do it if they just use their technique. If they be disciplined in their technique, do everything that they're coached and everything they know, they won't have to go through that panic situation. But for some reason, when they get beat in a trail position, it's like, that's the danger of getting called for pass interference when you don't locate the ball or let the receiver's going to let you run into him.
That's kind of been the issue. And the fact that he said that the DBs are panicking on those kind of plays, they should be able to look towards the ball and not even think about it. They should just be focused on getting that ball first or at least try to prevent it from happening.
And one thing that was taught to me, CG, and I taught my sons, it's not so much the head to turn around to look for the ball when a receiver's head turned around. You look at his eyes too. And if his hands go up, because there's times that's going to go up late, his hand's going to go up late for the ball. That's where you got to put your hands basically in the middle. So the receiver's going to catch the ball like this, it's your job to try to get it in the middle.
Yeah,
so you won't catch it cleanly.
I guess that's a perfect way to do it, so you can be able to get it at the right timing. But it can always depend on the DBs. If they jump at a good timing, that's where they make the play. But if they miss it, man, that's a disaster right there, man. That's what I hate about some of those DB plays, man.
And mostly too, the off coverage. I mean, if you play this against the Rams going to take, we'll just play pitch and catch.
Yeah, pitch and catches and all that stuff. But when they get it at the good timing, man, it's always about execution. But when the defenders get it at the wrong time, that's where disasters are waiting to happen. And it just doesn't always look great. It's always been like for DBs, man, they gotta stay on their receiver and not be grabbing in some ways, but they have always done that grabby part. Like, I don't get it. Are they just scared of getting beat or something? What is it like as a DB in perspective for yourself? Why do some DBs do that?
The only thing I could think of, one, is it all starts at the line of scrimmage. Once they get beat off the line of scrimmage, they're probably going to grab because they know they got beat. So that's one of the things that I caught. For example, Avery Thomas, when he was in preseason, what was his problem? Always grabbing. Why? So you go back to the line of scrimmage. He gets beat. So once he gets beat, he has to grab because he can get beat deep, basically. Yeah, you're going to save a touchdown, but you just cost your team many yards on this pass interference play.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's the only most common issue I've seen from DBs, and that's why a lot of the holding just happens. It's either they're getting beat or they're not in the perfect position to make the play, I guess.
Yeah, and this is one of the things I taught my son what to do. You know what I mean? Like, for example, CJ, I know you heard this cliche, because the line didn't get there, it puts a DB in a bad position. Well, to me, that's hogwash because the D line is they're trying to do their job, but it's up to us DBs to stick with the receiver until you hear that whistle, the play is over. Like I told my sons, you stick with your receiver. You follow him everywhere he goes. If he goes to the restroom, you go follow him. You help him. Do not let him out of your sight. If he wants to go sit on the bus, you go sit with him. Do not let him out of your sight.
Oh man, that's a good way to say it. Like, just follow him no matter where he goes, I guess. Yeah. If he's gonna go at the concession stand, go over there.
Go over there, and if you have to order for him, but don't let him out of your sight.
Yeah, that's a tough part. But for our offensive line, we always have to stay focused on the other guys. So we always have to put our hands on them, but we always have to figure out better ways to where the ref doesn't call a penalty.
And I hope Crompton ain't playing.
Oh man, that's the worst part. When I watch his film, he blocks a little late, and then all for defenders, all they got to do is just slap his hand or just swap him out of there, and they just run right past him. Like if Aaron Donald's going to play against him, dude, Aaron Donald could just do his usual technique where he just kind of just. I guess he does this type of role play where he does something like that. All he can do is he can just rip in and just pass him easily, bro.
And I watched the film on Crompton. Oh my God, they should have called 911 on that D-line guy because he just abused him.
Yeah, like that guy just like that defender might as well get the Cardinals defender might as well get charged for abusive.
Yeah, but yeah, isn't Woods playing it Monday as well, or is he injured? I'm hearing mixed signals about that.
Are you talking about Robert Woods?
There you go. Yeah,
tore ACL in practice, out for the season.
Okay, so Woods won't be a factor, but the one receiver, I'm not going to worry about too much Odell. Okay, yeah, I might worry about him if he goes against Lenore. That's the matchup to watch. But I still think Cooper Kupp's going to be the main one.
Yeah, he's the main guy. And then Odell, I think he's only coming in for like whatever the amount of snaps, but they're going to have Van Jefferson out there too. So that's another guy to watch out for. And then Packers should, I mean, yeah, dude, like Cooper Kupp's going to be the guy that we have to focus on. Then they got that tight end. What's his name? Higbee or something. He's another solid tight end. He's a good one.
Higbee, he wasn't too much of a factor that I believe since we went up against him. I don't think he'll be much of a factor. I think either not Warner, but is Greenlaw going to be playing? Not Greenlaw, but who was it? Jimmy Ward. I'm thinking. Is he
Jimmy Ward. I'm hearing that he might play.
I'm interested to see how his calf or his quad is going to hold up. Because Higbee doesn't really have too many moves. He's not quick like the George Kittles and Warner. I mean, not Warner, but that dude from the Raiders, Waller. He's not quick like that.
He's a 4.8 kind of speed guy. He's kind of like a Ross Dwelly, but just not that fast.
Right. So I think Ward will hold up against him if he plays. Now, if he didn't play and Hufanga went up against him, that'll be kind of something to watch.
Oh, Hufanga may not be as quick, but he's able to get the job done. He's got the game speed to make up for. So I think Hufanga would have to match up to that Rams tight end at some point where he might have to tackle him or stay focused. But I think for linebackers, it would either have to be Warner or Al-Shaair. But I don't know about Greenlaw. I don't know when he's going to play because he's been on IR since that Lions game. So I don't know what to expect out of him. Yeah, Roger is playing with it.
And here's the thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on too. Can somebody make a tackle, please?
Yeah.
Can somebody do better tackling? Somebody, please. There's times I want to jump through the TV, CG, and show these fools how to tackle. I mean, at least Kirkpatrick was disciplined enough to hold his ground, even though he got trucked. And by the way, CG, I know that feeling because I've gotten trucked like that before. Let's just say it feels like your shoulders just went to your ribs. They just put it like that.
Yeah, and stop doing arm tackles or at least try to like miss on time. Just make the play.
And that's
go like a missile.
That's one thing I had a problem with Mosley, especially this past Arizona game, is instead of saying disciplined and letting the running back come to him so he can make a tackle, he over pursued and got beat by I think it was Connor. Don't over pursue. Just stay disciplined, bend your knees. Let him come to you, and once he comes to you, you bend your knees, you drive your shoulder through his chest. That's all you got to do.
Dude, we made Connor look like freaking Derrick Henry. Dude, the tackling was terrible. Like, dude, I was like, what the heck?
It was horrible. And then you cannot let Stafford out the pocket. That's the big thing. Don't let Stafford off the pocket.
Yeah, and the fact that they do those running back screen pass, bro, that's the one issue that we might have a problem with because we had it happen with the Cardinals and quite a few teams have been able to do that. And especially with the Lions before then, like they were throwing it to Swift a lot or Williams. And that was the one tricky part. If you can throw in those screen pass to the running backs, that could be the more issue to defend.
And and that's the part where I say play modify off coverage. Modify it, cut it in half. And you can get to those screens a lot quicker.
Yeah, or you can be able to disrupt it out of the play or something.
Because that's one thing I coach my sons on: how to beat the block from the when the receivers come down blocking, how to beat it. Here's what irritated me by my oldest son. He was notorious for this. Even I got on. I was yelling at the receivers like, "What are you guys doing? Why are you guys running into the block? Don't run into it. Get around it. If you got the speed to get around it, get around it. Or if you can't get there, at least hold so your team can come over here and make the tackle. But you're not doing it. You just run into the block and you get stuck. And right there, the Niners have done that. And also that's what used to irk me about my son, because he used to run into the block instead of getting around it.
Most players should be able to, like, for some techniques, when I've learned to play D-line too, sometimes the bull rush may work on weaker linemen, but usually if you go against the more physical, better technique ones, do not even bother the bull rush. They've told me this before. It doesn't work on certain occasions. Like, when I look at a guy like Arden Key, there were some plays where was able to flash, but he was kind of bull rushing a little on that Cardinal defender. But it's not going to work when you do that against Whitworth or quite a few other guys. So it's like, if Arden Key can work on the technique of getting passed by the person, I think he should be able to get to that quarterback. But he does that bull rush technique, and Ebicom does the same thing. Like, when I look at Ebicom's technique, he doesn't get through. He always tries to get physical, and you got to work on better techniques to get past. Look at Bosa. The moment that he works on technique, he works on the technique of where he pulls in or something like that. It's like kind of like one of those, those construction things where they have that. What is it? The technique part where you just pull aside or something. It's like one of those little. Yeah, and then you do a swipe technique. But when you do the swimming technique, it only works towards going to the running back. And then there's one with the rip part where you could get to that quarterback, but you have to go in the right direction, or else it's just a waste of play.
Overall, the defense in this game needs to do better tackling, make for sure tackles, because if you miss that tackle, it's going to be a long night. In the secondary, there's got to be better communication, because no one's communicating back there, and you could see it, CG, on TV. There's nobody communicating. If you have to call timeout, call timeout.
No leadership out there. No outspoken leader. No guy criticizing his teammate. Nobody coming at them and let him be accountable. Like, I don't see it. Like, when Norman had to be put in his place, I think Tavon Wilson was coming at him, but I don't think he's a vocal leader. But he was able to do something. But that's not the exact leader we would expect it to be. Our backup safety to say something to that guy.
Yeah, but at the same time, where was the rest of the team when Josh Norman was going off? Where's everybody at to pull Josh Norman away? There was nobody around except the refs and the opposing team. Where's the leadership at? I really believe the passion and the leadership is missing, and the communication. All that's missing for some reason.
Yeah, that's what it was. But in all, leadership-wise, that's been the issue with the team in general. But so I feel like that's the only problem we have, and it's true to say what they say, but Steve Young is rightfully right about what he said. There's no dog out there.
Exactly.
Nobody out there to speak. So when I look at this team, there's no leadership, there's no accountability, and the fact that Jed York is a terrible owner, he can't even man up to Kyle Shanahan and tell him how to do his job, bro. When you're an owner of a company and your employee ain't stepping up to the plate, are you going to let this guy do what he does, or are you going to come to the office and tell him, hey, I need to talk to you right now? We're having a meeting.
And I said this before, CG. With the real Jed York, please stand up. Jed York, where are you? You're the owner. It's time for you to put people on notice. Let them know if you're not gonna play, let me know. Get you off the team and replace you with somebody who actually wants to play.
Yeah, that's true. And to cover your friend, whatever, Corona, Tommy's not spamming. He's been on my channel for a while, so he's just a guy who likes to troll around. He's a cool dude. Like, he's not spamming you guys now. I think people get it the wrong way. Tommy never spams. He just plays around. Like, I get that some people get pissed off about him, but Tommy's one of the funniest guys.
I know you're talking about. I think he's pretty cool.
No, but I think Corona, I think that was your cousin or whatever. I think that one was getting misunderstood by that. No, Tommy's a good dude.
Yeah, I can't see the comment, but Tommy, he's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool dude. I know it seemed like a troll, but he's not.
No, but this is what the person said. Tommy, you're spamming. How is he spamming? I mean, he's been around my channel for at least over a year, so he's been one of my followers. But he always plays around. He likes to piss off people without even trying. That's the thing about Tommy. Once you get to meet this guy's one of the coolest guys. But when you are a fan of another team, he's gonna trash your team, of course. But he's always been a nice dude.
But now I can't see the comments. What's he saying about me?
No, like they just said if you can see the comments, like, okay, see, Corona was saying, Tommy, you're spamming, which I don't see nothing spamming there. I don't see no spam. And I'm like, okay, but I think
I'm sure if you saw CG, I'm sure you probably would have blocked him or something.
Yeah, I would have blocked the spams, but Tommy's not a spam. He's one of my followers. And I mean, Tommy's just, I guess you could say Tommy is a dick at times, but he's a cool dude.
Getting back to Jed York, I think he needs to be actually an owner now and stop being a softie. Be an owner.
Yeah.
Grab your balls and man up.
Yep, I get a lot of haters out there, and you know what I like about haters? Leave me the dislike and suck it. Get out. I don't give a shit, bro.
And my friend Armando should know this. And I got 2 words for you.
All right, man. So we're getting to that hour mark. So let's get to the final conclusion, man. I appreciate you on the show. Maybe at some point we'll do it again. But man,
definitely.
Definitely picking up knowledge and what you're saying about DBs, man. It's something I couldn't even pick up my brain on because my brother used to play safety and I didn't know what the difference was, but there was more responsibility. Yeah.
And more responsibility because there's times you will have to be one-on-one. You're on an island by yourself and you're going to have to keep up and make a play. That and it's hard because you're going up against like faster receivers. The main thing is to neutralize. Oh yeah. He brings that up, CG, because back in the day, I used to do a impersonation of The Rock. Do the eyebrow and everything. So yeah, that's why he's saying that.
I guess your friend Corona doesn't seem to like what Tommy is doing, but I think Tommy just plays around too much.
But in this particular game coming up tomorrow, I'm expecting to see better tackles. I'm expecting to do a better job of attacking the screens because the Stafford's going to hit him with the quick passes. But at the same time, gotta be wary of those double moves that the Rams are notorious for.
Oh, yeah, and we definitely got to be able to pressure Stafford because that's where Stafford plays terrible. If you look at the Titans game, look at that film. How were they able to create enough turnovers? They were able to get to that Rams offensive line. And I think that's the one weakest part of the Rams is their offensive line. Like their interior line is trash. If we thought the Niners' interior line was trash, then can you imagine what the Rams line looks like? They didn't address much on free agency with the offensive line. So
yeah, definitely. What's his name? Jalen Moore? Is his name not Jalen Moore, but Aaron Banks? Give that man a shot. Give him a shot. Let's see what he got.
Yeah, see what they got. So
my prediction this game, CG, if the Niners can hold and be disciplined. Let me say it again. Be disciplined. I think it's going to be a close game, but I see it going 24-21 Niners.
Okay, so if we play our best football, I see us winning by 3 points. I could see a 24-21 game, but if it doesn't play exactly as planned, which I don't see it happening, it could be exactly the same outcome like the Cardinals game, which I was out there. But who am I to say?
It all started with those turnovers. It all started with that. And then we made Colt McCoy look good. And Colt McCoy ain't all that. He was all that with Texas, yeah, but not in the NFL. He's garbage.
We made him look like Aaron Rodgers, so that's the sad part. But imagine what we deal with. Yeah. All right. No, you're doing fine, Corona. I guess just Tommy and them just don't seem to get along with it, so I don't got a problem with either. I mean, everybody has every right to speak how they want. But,
everybody calm down. Everybody calm down.
Calm down. It's all good. It's all good. Oh, I'll say it too. Be disciplined. David McNall said, be disciplined. Just like you said, you're a disciple. Okay, what's the one key phrase to which secondary player do you want to see step up if you had to choose one? So we'll get to the final of that conclusion, and you tell me why you want this guy to step up.
I want Lenore to step up. If nobody else, if these vets cannot step up, Lenore step up. Step up and be that leader. I think he has the potential. I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to be, example to Avery Thomas. I think he's a lot better than Avery Thomas, but I think Avery Thomas can learn a lot from him. So basically, if the veterans can't step up, Lenore, it's your turn. It's your time now.
All right, so Lenore, Kamisha, Monica, if you heard what Moses said about your brother, he's got potential, but if you see it,
And what's her name?
give him a huge shot. Her name, Kamisha Monica. She goes on the comments every now and then. That's her brother.
Kamisha Monica. The reason why I'm hard on your brother because I see potential. Don't take it wrong, because as my sons, I was just as hard on them, if not harder, because I said I saw potential and I saw they can be a lot better than I was. And sure enough, they were. That's why I'm so hard on the North, because he has that potential to be a Pro Bowl cornerback, I believe.
All right, you heard it pretty clear from the DB coach himself, Kamisha Monica. Hopefully, be able to check it out on Instagram whenever you get a chance, or go on my comments. But as of everybody else, I appreciate Moses on the show. It's going on a little longer. Maybe next time we'll do it. But as always, man, me and Moses will say, "Go Niners!"
Go Niners! Stay faithful always, good or bad.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, later.